is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask. Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome dung-eater, and Sir Gideon Othmere, the all-knowing. And one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between. To stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
So hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with a brand new game on the channel today. This is Elden Ring. Now I need to start off by saying, for anyone who is new to the channel, I have never played a FromSoft game before. I've never played Dark Souls or Sekiro or Bloodborne. This is my first game in this genre, and I just wanted to make a video talking about what it's like experiencing this game as someone who is completely new to the genre, who has no idea what I'm actually supposed to be doing. I have no idea of all the controls and everything yet. This is literally my first look at the game as someone who has no idea what they're doing. And I when I was watching other people playing this game, that's what I wanted to see, because I am someone who has no idea, so I wanted to see what it was like for other people that had no idea, and I didn't actually find any of those videos, so I thought that this would be an entertaining one to make. Feel free to laugh at all the mistakes I'm gonna make. You know, I don't even know at this point what controls do what. I'm just running around and experiencing what it's like and trying to learn. And I just have to say that first opening cutscene was incredible, and just coming out here and seeing this absolutely incredible view of the Erd Tree and all the falling leaves was just absolutely breathtaking. Immediately I was sold on this game, and I knew that this is definitely something that I am going to be wanting to play all the way through. It just looks incredible. So I have chosen the Confessor as my starting class, just because it seems like a pretty well-rounded class, and I'm not exactly sure what I want to sort of specialise in at the moment, whether I want to be a solely magic or faith build, or whether I want to go into more melee. So I decided that the Confessor, with the stats it has, and from the research that I was doing and listening to other people, it does seem like the Confessor seems to be a pretty good starting point. So that is what we're going to be starting out with, and as you can see we do have a sword and a shield. And I was just running around at this point thinking, okay, this looks great. Where are the enemies I need to start practicing and getting used to actually fighting in this game? And then I run through here and I'm like, oh, this looks like there's going to be something that pops up here. And sure enough, I see something jump in from the back there, and we immediately have a boss, and that's the first thing you encounter, and this thing is terrifying. So you can see I'm absolutely panicking here, running around, pressing all of the wrong buttons. I was trying to work out what on earth I was supposed to do. Like I said, at this point I still have very little idea of what all the different controls are, and of course I get killed.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on her side. We found her here after all. One of her kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
So another incredible cutscene there, and when we wake up we have the flask of Crimson Tears and the flask of Cerulean Tears. And now we are in a completely different location, so very clearly we were supposed to die at that first boss. It's very much expected. We also have an NPC here. Recall the arts of war on your warrior's blood. Yeah, I very much need to do that because I'm not very skilled at fighting at this point, as you guys will have just seen. I very, very much failed at the first hurdle, but as I said, it's very clearly expected. And also, I love the messages that you can read that other players have left. They are quite entertaining, some of them, and also quite useful sometimes if you read them. But at this point, I'm now fully immersed and really excited to see what else is to come, basically. Now, I must admit, I did feel pretty bad that I had completely failed at that first boss. But like I said, with that cutscene and of course being brought to this new area, it is pretty much intended that you do die there. And I knew that Dark Souls games and, you know, games in that genre don't mess around. I have watched playthroughs of all the Dark Souls games, of Bloodborne, and I knew that this was going to be a very difficult thing to come into as a completely inexperienced player. So yeah, I knew that I should have probably expected to encounter a boss straight away as the first thing I would actually find. But here we have our first sight of Lost Grace, which, as far as I can tell, is almost like the bonfires in previous Dark Souls games, and you can pass the time, you can do different things here, but we're just going to move straight on and go and see what else lies ahead. Now, one thing I did make sure to do as I was going along was pick up every item I could find, destroy anything that I could destroy, just make sure to check everything out in case there was secrets or secret items to be picked up. And as you can see here, we have a little thing about multiplayer, so I had a little bit of a read about that, just in case maybe at some point I end up playing with any of my friends. But I was more intrigued to move on because I wanted to get to the area that I knew would be the starting area, which is Limgrave. So we come into this room and there's this little circular pedestal thing, so I was pretty certain this was going to be some kind of lift, and sure enough it was, and it takes us straight up for quite a long way, going up through all the darkness here, which it just looked so cool. And then we end up in another small circular room, which as you look behind me there is a door. And I was so excited to see what that was going to be about, but I could see that there was something over in that corner, so I just went and made sure that there was no items or anything that I would be missing there, and then we come across to this door. Now, I was really excited to see what was going to be behind this, and as we open it, we are now in Limgrave, which is the starting area, and this just looks so incredible. That is absolutely beautiful, and I was just so excited to get started and start exploring. And immediately you can already see a boss walking around down there, but before we do anything else we are going to touch the Grace here at this site of Lost Grace and then talk to this NPC.
Oh yes, tarnished are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the round table hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity.
Now, I was sorely tempted to kill that less than friendly NPC, but I remember hearing not to kill NPCs if you're not sure if they'll be important later or not, so I opted not to for now. I then set off down into this area to basically start getting used to some of the controls, start getting used to actually fighting and attacking things, and start collecting resources. I knew that there was crafting in this game, again from watching people playing the network test and early access portions of this game, so any animals I could find, like this sheep-like creature, I was going to take out and try and get any crafting resources I could, and as you can see there I got some thin beast bones. Not sure what kind of use they'll have, but may as well pick them up while I've got the opportunity in case they'll be useful in future. Now, something I want to note whilst I'm sort of creeping around this tree sentinel here, seeing how close I can get, is that every now and again I was having sort of frame rate issues. There was some stuttering and a little bit of lag. Now, it's not my PC has more than good enough specs to be able to handle this game, so I don't know if it just needs a little bit of optimization. I expect there'll probably be a patch. I know I heard from other people that there was some frame rate issues and stuff like that going on, so I expect there'll be a patch to sort those issues out in the future. But I then decided I wanted to go and try and attack this tree sentinel, and as you can see I get right up next to him, and then as I'm going to try and attack I accidentally started to read something there, and I get absolutely wrecked and very quickly learned that the tree sentinel is not to be messed with. Well, at least maybe just not for now. I then decided I would go and try and find some easier enemies to practice my fighting skills on, and these knights that were hanging around in the area are pretty easy to take down. As you can see, a few slashes from my sword brought that guy down nice and quickly. I was also making sure to pick up items like the roa fruit that was growing in the area, and of course, as I mentioned, killing animals and stuff just to get more resources. Now, I had to show this off. I know it's not necessarily important to the gameplay, but these sheep creatures do this thing where they sort of roll away from you as an escape method, and I just absolutely loved that. I thought it was really funny, and it completely caught me off guard when I first saw it. So, picking up some more roa fruit here, and I could see these giant bat-type enemies hanging around over in this corner, and I was really curious to try and get a closer look at them and try and take them down. And as you can see, they really do have the appearance of giant bats, and they're very easy to take down. They're a little bit tricky when they're actually in the air, but when they come down a little bit, they are much easier to take down. And also we get some info as I take that last one down about vanquishing enemy groups and the benefits of doing so. And I was really pleased that I actually managed to take all of these 3 down. I thought they might be a little bit trickier than they actually were, so I was really happy with that. I then decided to follow the Trails of Grace into the Church of Ella, and as you can see we now have another site of Lost Grace. And as we do that interaction we get another bit of information, this time about fast travelling. Now I could see there was an NPC here, but I could also see an item that could be picked up. So I come over here and I get a smithing stone, and then we start to talk to this NPC who ends up being a trader.
You're not after my throat. Then why not purchase a little something, Carly?
Now, unfortunately, I really couldn't buy much from the trader at all, so I decided to rather just move on and continue exploring. And I noticed there was a very peculiar looking statue up on a bit of a higher point, so I decided that I was going to go and investigate it. And you can see it's a very interesting looking statue, very hunched over with a long neck. And when you get close to it, there was the option to examine it. So, of course, I'm going to examine it, and it lights a little blue candle in the statue's hand. I also noticed there was these eagles here, so I decided I wanted to kill at least one of them just to see if I would get anything from it. And I didn't, but as I turned around, I noticed that now from that statue's hand there was like a blue trail heading into a certain direction. So I decided I would follow it and see what that was all about. And after killing a few wandering enemies on the way, I ended up coming through this door and discovering a new area. This area is the Stormfoot catacombs, and right at the entrance there is thankfully a site of Lost Grace, so if I do die in here I could come straight back to the entrance. There's also another ghost NPC who's actually sat here in this chair. So some more interesting dialogue from him, and then this happens. I run into this room and I just get absolutely destroyed immediately. It actually gave me quite the jump scare when I got attacked there. I wasn't expecting it, and I did do a little bit of exploring in these catacombs and just kept dying, so I decided that that probably wasn't the best area for me just now.
Greetings, traveller from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord. Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree. Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. I bequeath to you this ring. Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect.
So after several deaths within the catacombs, I did leave and come back to the outside area, and I did end up finding another site of Lost Grace where I finally got to meet Melina and finally obtain the Mount Torrent. Now Torrent I think is absolutely beautiful, and he's a really fantastic mount, and I was so happy to finally actually have the mount. This is what I really was looking forward to in Elden Ring. There's just something so cool about being able to ride around on a mount in a game like this. So I decided I was going to ride around and try and get some more of the area laid out in my head for in future when this ended up happening. A giant just jumped down from on high and started chasing us. And this is something that I absolutely love about Elden Ring, is around every corner there is something to surprise you, a new challenge or a new enemy. It's just really exciting. Now I'm going to try and take this guy out and get absolutely wrecked, and then we're going to move on to a different clip. And you'll see the next thing I ended up encountering.
In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Now unfortunately the first couple of seconds of that encounter didn't actually record, but I knew I was going to get wrecked here. I hadn't actually got my sword equipped and I didn't even have full health. Now I can hear all the Dark Souls veterans laughing, and honestly I'm laughing too. I'm completely noob at this game and I'm actually enjoying it. It's nice to actually be able to learn and see these mistakes I'm making and go back and actually improve. But enough messing around. I decided I wanted to actually try and kill something at least half impressive in this video and just prove that I'm not entirely useless all the time as I have been throughout most of this video. And I decided that I wanted to take on and defeat the Tree Sentinel. Now, this probably wasn't my smartest idea. It did take a few attempts, but with Torrent and my starting gear, I did actually manage to complete this boss fight. And I was pretty pleased with myself that I actually managed to defeat this guy, and I now have a little bit more confidence going forward in taking on some other enemies. And I'm very excited to, as I said, improve as I continue on. I know I'm still relatively bad at this game. In fact, I'm terrible at this game. Let's not mess around. I'm awful, but I'm loving every second of it, and I think that that's the most important thing. It's not about being good straight out the gate. It's about learning and improving as I go through, and basically learning as I go through the game. And I really like that. I think it's really fun. So I will now leave you with the rest of this boss fight with the Tree Sentinel, and you can see exactly how it turned out. There was a portion that went completely not to plan, and you'll see that I completely panic and I'm trying to press all the wrong buttons, and it ends up being pretty funny, but we do end up actually defeating this guy. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. I definitely recommend picking up Elden Ring, even if you are a complete noob to this genre, just like me. If I can do some of this stuff, then anybody can definitely do it, and I think that's my biggest takeaway from this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.